when we bought it, I thought that we would make 20 times our money. We've made 20 times our money, and so far. And I think that it's going to be a $2 trillion company over the next 10 years, 8 or 10 years. That's $2,000 a share. When they built it in the first one in Fremont, that was about $17,000 of capital spending a car. It's now in China about $4,000 a car. So I think that in Tesla we're going to make a triple in 10 years. I think that in SpaceX we're going to make 30 to 50 times in 10 years.
Hey, I'm Steven and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So in this video, I'm reacting to some recent comments from billionaire investor and long-term Tesla bull, Ron Barron. Ron recently spoke on a Bloomberg podcast. There's a link in the description to the full interview. I highly recommend you guys check it out. But in this video, we're just focusing on Ron's comments relating to Tesla. So let's get into the video. But first, hey guys, if you live in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 4 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 2 free stocks between $2.50 and $250 each just for opening an account. And if you deposit $100, you'll get a further 2 free stocks valued between $8 and $1,600 each. That is an obnoxiously good return on your investment. I mean, really, deposit $100 and you'll end up with, at minimum, $21 worth of stocks, a 21% ROI on your money. And if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Let's get back to it.
So, Ron, let's talk a little bit about one of your bigger holdings. You've been a buyer of Tesla since 2014. The stock has just exploded. Last year it was up over 600%. Is there any upside left here? Where do you think the stock goes from here?
Well, we bought stock in Tesla. We spent $385 million between 2014 and 2016 to buy 8 million shares, 8 million one shares. And the average price is $40 a share, $42 a share. It's now $860 or $850. And so it's now $850 billion market cap. It was $45 billion when we started. I think that and I've been saying this for a while, when we bought it, I thought that we would make 20 times our money. We've made 20 times our money, and so far. And I think that it's going to be a $2 trillion company over the next 10 years, 8 or 10 years. That's $2,000 a share.
So first of all, a round of applause to Barron Capital, a 20x return on their Tesla stock buy in the span of just over half a decade. Very impressive. And more importantly there, Ron Barron, very confident that he can see Tesla going to a $2 trillion market capitalization.
And
wow.
Can we get lucky? Yeah, I can get lucky and if this autonomous driving takes off the way I think it could be, that could be worth another $500 billion or $1 trillion.
So just doing the math here, another $500 billion to $1 trillion added to Tesla's market capitalization. Ron's suggesting it's already going to $2 trillion. That would take it to up to $3 trillion, about $3,000 per share.
Ride sharing could be a really big deal. The solar roofs, that could be a nice business for them. The battery business. Now when they build factories, the factories they build are for 250,000 cars a year production. And a factory, when they built them in California, when they built it in the first one in Fremont, that was about $17,000 of capital spending a car. It's now in China about $4,000 a car.
So I just want to take a moment here. I've been watching Ron Barron's interviews regarding Tesla for quite a number of years now, and I've noticed a pattern over time. Ron seems to be privy to information, material information about Tesla's business that they maybe haven't specifically disclosed previously, certain costs, certain production targets, etc. Now, I'm not sure if Ron's just slipping up here or he's allowed to share this. I don't know. I hope Ron doesn't get in trouble, but this is the point. Every time Ron has made a statement about Tesla that I didn't know previously, it has turned out later to be validated or it's still up in the air but seems likely. I think that's the same case here. If Ron is correct, and I would assume he is, that means that Tesla's capital cost for unit of capacity in their factories is 1/4 what it was for Fremont. Tesla has become 4 times as efficient with their capital expenditure. Incredible. This is a staggering rate of progress over just a few years, and we could project that into the future too. most of you guys who are regular viewers of the channel will know, Tesla continues to drive their costs down, innovate and develop new techniques for manufacturing vehicles that are better quality and cheaper and faster to produce. This is a never-ending cycle. We've now got some insight into the rate of progress Tesla's made between Fremont and Shanghai, first factory to second factory. Insane.
And the factory in China is probably at 250,000 people. Thought it was going to be a 150,000 car factory, and that was the opportunity people perceived. And but we thought that they could do millions of cars a year in China. And that one factory they built so far is a 250,000 car factory a year, and which is now at the rate it's producing. And that's making somewhere around $2.5 billion a year. So they invested $1 billion. That's making $2.5 billion. When you invested in McDonald's a long time ago, you could invest $1 million as a franchisee, and if you worked, crazy hours and you put on your apron and got all dirty, maybe you can make $250,000 a year for $1 million investment. These guys have $1 billion investment to making $2.5 billion a year. Pretty wild.
What did Ron just say? He did just say. Let's do the math here. Ron just suggested back in the day you buy a McDonald's franchise for around $1 million. If you're lucky, you'll generate $250,000 profit per year at 25% ROI on your money. Really decent. Tesla are generating a 250% return on their investment. $1 billion in, $2.5 billion out. That is literally an order of magnitude better than a McDonald's franchise. I mean, this is insane. Like, where will you find an investment where you get double and a half the money you put in year one, and then you reap the same amount in year 2 and 3 and 4 and 5? I mean, holy crap, man. Elon Musk may be the world's greatest investor, and I actually mean that.
I mean,
wow.
Like Steve Wynn when he goes into China and they spend $2 billion on the first hotel in Macau, and they gave him. They were so happy that he came. He gave him land that he sold for $1 billion. He has $1 billion net, and he started making it $100 million a month. But this is Tesla. They make $1 billion investments, and they make $2.5 billion a year. They're going to do the same thing in Germany, same thing in Texas.
Now, I don't want to labor the point here, guys, but it is worth emphasizing what Ron is saying here. Let's just use some back-of-the-napkin math. We'll forget about upgrades and things. Just very simple, just to illustrate a point. If Tesla's putting $1 billion into Shanghai, $1 billion into Berlin, and $1 billion into Austin, and forget what the actual numbers is, it might be $2 billion, and then it'll be $5 billion out, whatever. The point I'm making is, if they put in $3 billion, and then each of those factories in year one generates some $2.5 billion, that is $7.5 billion ROI on $3 billion in year one. Then another $7.5 billion in year 2. $3 billion in, we're now talking $15 billion out in 2 years. Another year, we're now talking $30 billion out on $3 billion in the span of 4 fucking years. Elon, take my money. I mean, oh wait, I already did that. That's why I'm all in Tesla. Oh, that's why I invested in the company. I knew I was investing in Tesla for a reason. That's awkward.
And in Tesla, the battery business, which I think the car business could be a $600 or $700 billion business in revenues a year, and making $200 million a year, $200 billion a year in 10 years. So that's how you get to this $2 trillion value. But that's not including the batteries. He thinks that the battery can be also a business as big as the car business. So think about that. So here he thinks he's going to go from 500,000 cars a year to 20 million cars a year, and he thinks his battery business is going to be as big as his car business. So I'm talking about the $2 trillion because of the cars. I'm not talking about it for the batteries.
So Ron Barron there suggesting that he believes Tesla is a $2 trillion company just based on their vehicle business, not including autonomy, which he believes is another $500 billion to $1 trillion, and not including the battery business whatsoever, storage, licensing / selling batteries to other automakers, etc. None of that, not even included. Elon believes the battery business can grow to be at least the same size as the car business. Therefore, you do the math. If things pan out, $2 trillion car business, $2 trillion battery business, another $500 billion to $1 trillion if autonomy is solved, that could be a $5 trillion valuation on Tesla by 2030.
As far as SpaceX, what that is that that's a business that so we're an investor. We own a little bit less than 1%. It's a private company, and the value on it is $43 billion maybe, and that was where we started with Tesla. I think that SpaceX is on the way to $2 trillion also. So I think that in Tesla we're going to make a triple in 10 years. I think that in SpaceX we're going to make 30 to 50 times in 10 years.
Wow. So Ron once again reiterating he's expecting a 3x on Tesla stock from here over the next decade and a 30 to 50 times return on his SpaceX stock. Let me know in the comments below if you're currently experiencing intense FOMO for not owning any SpaceX stock. Just in case there's anyone wondering, they are currently a private company. Theoretically, you could buy some SpaceX privately if you have enough cash, know the right people, and are willing to jump through about 420 different hoops to make it happen. I personally don't own any SpaceX stock. Maybe in the future, a few people have opened the door for me, but at this point in time, I was still redirecting most of my resources into Tesla stock rather than taking the opportunity to invest in SpaceX 6 or so months ago. Worked out okay. Long term, I'd really like to get into SpaceX, and I'm clinging on to hope, which is not a strategy, I admit, but hope, I do have some confidence that Elon Musk over time is going to try to create this X holding company and conglomerate all of his companies, Neuralink, SpaceX, Boring Company, Tesla, all into the one entity, in which case it will be possible to get some ownership in SpaceX in the future. Fingers crossed.
And then when Tesla comes along, I said, geez, this is going to be this monster company. And what I want to do is I went to the board and I said, in 2014 to 2016, I bought all the stock I could buy for the couple of funds that I manage, and most of the mutual funds at Barron Capital, which are real estate or healthcare or fintech or emerging markets or small cap, they can't own Tesla. And so and a couple of guys that could own it, I tried to persuade them and I wasn't successful. So I said, I'm not used to taking anyone's opportunity. If I invest in this, I'm not going to do it personally, but I'd like to take $50 million on behalf of Barron Capital and invest it in Tesla. And I think I can make $1 billion on it. And I can afford to lose $50 million. It wouldn't be pleasant, but I can afford to lose it. But I can't afford not to make $1 billion.
What a golden quote from Ron Barron there. I can afford to lose 50 million, but I can't afford not to make $1 billion. Completely reflects my own thoughts when investing in Tesla stock. Most of you guys watching the channel will know I've practically bought nothing but Tesla stock for the past half decade or so. In total, my capital investment, well, a little bit less than Ron's, a mere $500,000 approximately, so about 1/100th the amount of starting capital that Ron Barron had. Again, all in, there is the risk I could lose all of that. I thought that was an extremely low probability, but you never know. There could be an asteroid impact that wipes out the Fremont factory while Elon Musk is inside and then rip my Tesla investment. But outside those scenarios, I was in the same boat as Ron. I can't afford not to make the millions of dollars. How and why did I do this? Quite simple. I managed to develop an extremely high level of conviction about Tesla the company, therefore Tesla stock, and was happy to invest as much of my capital as I possibly could because I thought the risk reward just made sense. I've never before seen an opportunity like this. I believed it was a once in a generation opportunity, and so far I still haven't found another Tesla. That worked out okay. And the point that I'm trying to make to you guys is you can invest with the same level of conviction if you do enough homework. That's not to say that if you get familiar enough with the company, it's going to be a good investment, but you can keep digging and digging and digging and still keep digging even further until you get to a point where you have a very high level of conviction, or you realize, you know what, this opportunity isn't what I thought it was, I'll look for something else. So I really recommend you guys, when you're doing your research, is just keep digging and digging and digging until you can build that level of confidence, or decide, you know what, I'm passing on this opportunity, I'll look for another one. You don't need to make that many great investments in your life to do phenomenally well.
And if I do make it, I'll give some of the profit to people who work at Barron Capital. In addition, that Barron Capital will just be stronger, and my goal is to make it last for 100 years, so I want it to have a stronger balance sheet, even stronger than it does now. So they gave me permission. I said, and I'm committing that I will be the last person to sell. So I'm the last person to buy. No one else is going to buy at Barron Capital, and I'll be the last one to sell. I'm not going to sell anything until all of the shares are sold by all of my clients. And the directors of Barron Fund said that sounds reasonable, and it's fine, go do it. And so I did that, and it turned into, after a 5-for-1 split, 1,000,001 shares. So I told. So when the 500 million 2 shares that we've sold so far for clients, I haven't sold a single share. The 50 million became 850, 860 million, or 900 million, something like that.
$50 million in, almost $1 billion out and counting. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you invest.
Okay, that's not too bad a return.
No, pretty cool. And I think that there's 3 more times to come from that. And then over 10 years. And so the advantage that we have is that there's hardly, I don't know any people, I'm sure there must be out there, but I don't know people who are investing for other people who said, I'm going to make a 10-year investment or a 20-year investment in a company, and as long as the fundamentals are as I expect them to be, stay with it, and I'm not going to worry about the price in the meantime. And so that's what I do. And as long as the fundamentals for here, the business fundamentals for Tesla, from the time we invested in it in 2014 to last year, the business grew from $2.8 billion to $25 billion in sales. The stock price didn't change. It went up and down, up and down, up and down, and then it went up 10 times. The stock price caught up to the business.
This is a really important point from Ron Barron. Does anyone know what we're looking at here? That's right, Timmy. This is the Tesla stock price chart. Well done. Gold star for you today. Good job, Timmy. Now, you guys might notice that from the period of around 2014 until around 2019, Tesla stock traded sideways. I mean, literally, look at this. 5-year difference, Tesla stock down 4%. Half a decade, stock doesn't do anything, yet the fundamentals continue to improve. Production, deliveries, the technology improves, everything, right? Lots of positive catalysts, but the FUD, the short sellers and the bullshit out in the mainstream finance media, the oil shills, all these clowns invested in legacy automotive, etc., smearing Tesla, discrediting Elon Musk. And by the way, I'd just like to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to the moronic short sellers who were short Tesla stock for that entire period of time. Thank you for helping keep the price of the stock down so I could keep buying with every spare cent. Now, just out of interest, guys, I'm not suggesting or implying anything here, but I just want to show you the exact date that I started this YouTube channel, because the whole point of starting this channel was to shout from the rooftops, hey, guys, Tesla stock, you notice it's done nothing, they're winning, like I think there's an opportunity here, do your own research, but I think there's an opportunity. Where did I start the channel? Well, I started the channel on the 20th of November 2019, the Cybertruck video on the 22nd. First Tesla investing video was on the 9th of December, let's say around here. And what has Tesla stock done since the channel launch? Total coincidence, of course, up about 1,000%. And obviously, I mean, it's a total coincidence. My channel, I'm not saying has anything to do with it, but the whole reason that I started the channel is because I knew this was going to happen at some point. I didn't know when. It had been 5 fucking years. I'm like, oh, dude, I need to tell everybody. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm glad I started this YouTube channel in time, and I'm glad you guys found it in time. Yes, knowing the channel exists today, that is still in time, in my opinion. Tesla stock, we've probably got a 5 to 10x over the next decade or so. Give or take, it's a little bit hard to predict, but factoring in new products, dominance in autonomy, robo-taxis, software revenue, all this kind of stuff as well, I think that's a reasonable outcome. I know it sounds completely fucking insane to say now, but I can easily see Tesla being a $4 trillion, $5 trillion, $8 trillion company, maybe even a $10 trillion company around 2030. And I know that sounds insane, but I understand this company at a very intimate level. I think with AutoBidder software, Tesla's going to control and basically own generation of energy, storage of energy, and distribution of energy on a very large scale. AutoBidder software is going to be moving energy around, performing arbitrage, acting as part of virtual power plants. Tesla is completely disrupting utility, gas, and oil, and automotive, and a little bit of technology. Maybe you guys think I'm being too bullish, being a little bit crazy. Maybe some of you think I'm being too bearish. Let me know in the comments below. What's your best estimate for Tesla's valuation in the year 2030? 3 trillion, 5 trillion, 10 trillion? Let me know below.
And now the business is going to grow faster than the stock price over the next 10 years, I think.
There we have it, folks. Ron Barron expecting Tesla's business to grow phenomenally over the next 10 years. Me too. There's absolutely no question about that whatsoever. Ron expecting Tesla's stock to grow a little bit slower than the business. Maybe so, maybe not. I do accept that it's grown a huge amount in the last year or so, but I think Ron may be underestimating some of the things Tesla will be able to pull off in the future and just how dominant a player they'll be in vehicles and autonomy and energy generation, storage and supply. But hey, in the worst case, if Ron's right and I only see a 3x on my Tesla stock from here, I won't be complaining. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget, if you live in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 4 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 2 free stocks between $2.50 and $250 each just for opening an account. And if you deposit $100, you'll get a further 2 free stocks valued between $8 and $1,600 each. And if you're in Australia, the UK or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. P.S. If you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.